Bigfoot's got a problem, and I'm going to try and fix him. And I thought I would document it in case it proves useful for anyone watching. I'm Mike Dimas, and this is Pinball Shenanigans. So this is my whitewater, designed by Dennis Nordman in 1992. And Bigfoot, apparently I've got a credit dot, and which is an operator alert that says something ain't working. So I'm going to power this machine on and show you what I found. All right, so I've got the LH-6C code on this game, which is the latest and greatest code. If you don't have that, you should upgrade to that. It's got all the up-to-date stuff. Here is the prompt for the test report. If you see a little dot at the end of the word free play, that means you got an issue. So that's your first indication. So I'm going to open up the coin door. We're going to hit enter, and it's going to say what our issue is. Okay. Bigfoot error. It's a very generic error message. Like, there's a lot of things that can go wrong with Bigfoot. His head spins left, his head spins right, his arms move out to divert the ball, and he grunts and groans. He's got some optos for sensing his position. He's got a whole motor. He's got a motor board with all kinds of fun components on it. So next thing we're going to do is go into tests, and then we're going to go backwards from here. We're going to go, instead of advancing right, we're going to advance backwards, because I know that takes us to the Bigfoot test quick. Now we'll hit enter. So there's 3 tests here that can be done on Bigfoot. Head motor test number 1. So I'm going to hit enter, and let's see what happens when I do that. So direction clockwise, CW. So you can see Bigfoot is definitely going clockwise. Now, the plus and minus buttons on the coin door, the 2 red ones, will change direction in theory. So I'm going to hit the positive. Now it's saying, oh, look at that, look at that, look at that, look at that. Before he wasn't moving counterclockwise. So for whatever reason, he just decided to come to life there, but you can see he's really slow and cranky. So I am not sure what that issue is, but it's better than the last time I ran the test. He's actually moving. So I hit negative, and he moves clockwise. Positive, he moves counterclockwise. So it's just a little sluggish. At least it's better than last time I tested it. Let's go to head opto test now. And that should mark his positions, his home position. I think there's 2 optos maybe. I don't even know. Let's just hit enter and see what happens here. Yeah, 2 optos. When the X is in the box, that means the opto is being activated. And they're basically a musical instrument at this point, but they're both clearly working. So let's exit out of there. Now let's try head position test and see what happens. We'll hit enter. Head position unknown, and the test is apparently running. Player, up, diverter. So there's 3 positions: up, facing the player, and facing the diverter. And at some points it says his position is unknown. That's probably just in between the 3 points. Unknown up, unknown diverter, unknown player. So that's actually a successful test. So I might be trying to fix something that's actually working here, but clearly this is an issue. It's reared its ugly head, pun intended, in recent times. So I am going to try and address it. But as you can see, he's definitely stopped moving counterclockwise. Oh wait, no, he's proving me a liar there. So Bigfoot's a little sluggish. I'm gonna dig in and see what I can find. All right, there's lots of stuff going on with this mech here. It's fairly elaborate. You can see the motor board from underneath Bigfoot's butt there. And there's a couple optos, as we know. We've got a connector from this board, and some of those wires go to this board, and then some of the wires go to that board there. So there's a lot of parts of the equation. And first thing I did was just for fun, just pull off this connector. I'm gonna have to do a little research, look at the schematics, kind of get a better idea. Now when I shop this up, there's a chance I might have reflowed the solder on these guys, but it's hard to tell. Can't say for sure. Got a 12 volt ground, R1 and R2, and what is that, a 0? So I'm going to start at least by kind of just cleaning off these terminals. These headers, they look just a little bit crusty. I don't think that's my problem, but you never know. It's good practice, right? Sand off this coating so that it corrodes even faster next time. But no, I'm using like 600 grit sandpaper. So anyway, there's lots of stuff going on here, so I'm gonna have to dive in a little deeper. All right, let's have a look at these schematics here. This is the motor circuit. Starts over at the CPU board, ends up at the power driver. You got this 7 opto switchboard. Then you've got, this is the opto board that is underneath Bigfoot that we were just looking at. That's the connector I was cleaning. It's just got 2 optos on it, so it's pretty basic. And the motor's there. And then we've got the bidirectional motor board. It's got a ground and 12 volts. Looks like a couple of solenoids maybe. Maybe perhaps one that activates his diverter. So there's a lot going on here. And then this is the opto board schematic. Here's the bidirectional motor board assembly drawing. We got connector J1 here, connector J2. This capacitor is often an issue, and I had issues with my Bigfoot before. Turns out this capacitor at C2 was leaking and was causing some issues, so I replaced it, and that resolved those issues. So I'm not sure if that has some corrosion that was left over that I didn't get that may be affecting different components. If that has anything to do with it, that's definitely worth investigating. And then here is the schematic for this board. So this is the J1 connector, 12 volts. I think that's coming in. Driver up, down, not really sure what that means. But over here on J2, looks like we got motor plus and motor negative at pins 1 and 4. So I think we're gonna focus on this. What do we got here? An L2 inductor. Oh, there's 2 inductors on this board, one for each direction. So those are here, L1 and L2. So those are just little coily looking, spring looking copper things. So I don't think a capacitor has, leaked all the way over here and messed up either of those inductors. But I have had inductors go bad before. And then over here, looks like goes to a tip 107 transistor. Got a diode here. Q3 a tip 102. Wait, that's supposed to be a 102, isn't it? Tip 102. There's no tip 107s that are used in pinball typically. Got a couple resistors, 4.7k ohms. And then it comes down around here. There's another tip 102 involved. And what else do we got? Resistor, resistor, resistor. You know, it's a lot of stuff going on here. I don't understand half of it really, but I'm going to kind of focus on this next. All right, so this is the J2 connector. And pin 4 appears to be, well, that looks like pin 1 on the top, right? Can you see that? Yes, just barely. So pin 4 has got to be the white wire. And, you know, maybe it's not in there very good. Looks okay. Maybe this header needs to be reflowed, but these are the two inductors that I was talking about. And then there's the transistors. So the fact that it's intermittent makes me think it's more of a connection issue than like a bad transistor or component. So I think I'll pull that board next. All right, so here is the motor board removed from the machine. And it's laid out just like in the diagram there. So there's the two inductors, transistors. Here's the capacitor that I replaced. It might have done some damage to that chip potentially. I mean, you want all your little points to be nice and shiny. That is not so much in this area. Like, look at the solder point on this diode and the capacitor. The diode has a little bit of green gunk on it too, so who knows? But you can see a little glob of solder on here. Don't think that is really affecting anything, but I shall remove that. And I don't know, I'll just test the transistors and kind of just have a closer look and see if I find anything. Okay, I tested a bunch of the components on this board. I didn't really find anything that, you know, stood out. So at the very least, I just reflowed these headers here and got rid of the chunk of solder that was wedged in there. So I'm going to plug this back in and check on the connectors for this. So I just took a little jeweler's flathead screwdriver and I pushed in the wires into the connector housing better. I'm going to proceed to do that to this connector as well. In theory, it would be best to change this right over to a Molex style connector, but I'm just going to see if that made any difference. Okay, I just plugged in the board, turned on the machine, and my credit dot went away. So let's run this test. I don't imagine, oops, I gotta concentrate here. Test, Bigfoot test. Okay, here we go. I don't know that it's officially working because it is intermittent. It's hard to, you know when the problem is resolved until you play like 50 games or something like that. But either way, let's run this test. Now, let's try the negative direction, counterclockwise. Seems to be a lot more frisky this time around than last time, eh? It's actually more slow going clockwise. And then counterclockwise. Yeah, it's actually faster counterclockwise now. So I don't know if anything I did actually resulted in an improvement on this. If it was reflowing the headers, if it was pushing the wires in the IDC connectors a little better, or if it was a matter of reseating connectors that were just a little bit crusty. For now, Bigfoot is happy. And but yeah, if you do have any problems with Bigfoot, the primary thing you want to look for is that capacitor on that motor board. That almost guaranteed has gone bad, and if it hasn't, it will. And don't just look at it and assume it's all good. You pretty much gotta like remove it and look underneath, and you will see its guts probably spilled out. So I'll report back if Bigfoot acts up again, but for now, I think we're good. All right, I played like 10 games, and I think I can safely say that Bigfoot is happy. He may not sound it, but he is.